TNIZA coming back at you guys with some very important information. I'm coming at you guys with the information on how to purchase your first home and what to look for. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. TNIZA, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's get it. All right. First thing you need to do when you get ready to buy a home is you go to your bank, talk to your banker, and ask your banker, tell your banker that you're there as a first-time buyer and what procedures that you need to go by. The banker is actually going to tell you guys that you're going to need your social security card, your ID, and proof of income, which is your last 2 years of your W-2s. Now, once they schedule an appointment for you guys to come back with that information, they're going to sit you down and they're going to go over the information, and of course, they're going to run your credit. If your credit is below 600, don't panic because they have other options. And if your credit is above 700, then you don't have to go through some of the things that I'm about to say. So, let's go back to if your credit is 600 or lower, but your income is good. And how they look at your income is they want to see that you can pay all your bills, and they want to see the extra money that you have left over to see whether or not you can afford to pay the mortgage. So if your income shows that you can pay the mortgage, then guess what? You still can get the home. Only difference is your interest rate is going to be a little higher, and they're going to put you in what you call an ARM, A-R-M, just like it's spelled. Just like it sounds, an ARM. And what is an ARM? An ARM is an option, if your interest rate is, not your interest rate, but if your credit falls below they're asking, then the program that they can put you in, the rate that they can put you in is an ARM. And what the ARM does is you'll be able to get into the home, but the first 2 years, you'll know exactly what your mortgage payment is going to be. It's going to stay the same for the first 2 years. So if you was to get in the house on an ARM, you don't want to stay on an ARM. For those 2 years, you want to straighten out your credit. And I'm going to do a video on straightening out your credit. So whatever's on your credit, please leave it in my comment section. So when I do the video, I know exactly what to tell you guys. And I'm also going to show you guys the information. I'm going to actually zoom in on it and allow you guys to be able to copy it word for word. And all you have to do is just send a certified letter from the post office to the creditor, and that should take care of whatever's on your credit. And no, I'm not asking for no money. Only thing I'm asking is you just subscribe and tell others about me and continue to watch my videos. Alright, so if you choose the ARM and you're in the home, first 2 years you'll know exactly what your mortgage payment is going to be. So while you're in the home, if you don't use what I'm going to say on my next video, have your credit cleared up within those 2 years. They're going to tell you what's on your credit. They actually might just give you a printout and tell you why you had to go to the option of an ARM. So when they show you the things that's on your credit that cause you to get into the ARM rate, then you make sure that you get those things off your credit. And you can do that way before the 2 years is up. And you want to do it before the 2 years, because if not, your mortgage payment is going to fluctuate. What does that mean? Okay, for the first 2 years, it's going to be fixed. Fixed meaning it's going to be fixed. It's going to stay exactly what they tell you that your mortgage payment is going to be. If they say it's going to be $700, then it's going to be $700 for those 2 years, unless your house go up, in value. And I'm going to go over that as well. So while you're on that ARM, your goal is to clear your credit. And once you clear your credit, you want to take that information back to the bank and tell them you want to refinance, because you've taken everything off your credit that's showing up on your credit. All right, when you refinance, what does that mean? That means you're going to do the process all over again. You're going to get approved for the loan again. And once you get approved for the loan this time, your interest rate is not going to be high because you just got your your credit cleared. So once it's cleared and they refinance, then your interest rate is going to be lower. And that's what determines your mortgage payment, whether it's going to be high or not, your interest rate. So your interest rate is going to be lower, and then your monthly payment is going to be lower. Then you'll no longer be in an ARM. You'll be what you call a fixed rate. And if you're on that fixed rate for the 30 years, then you're going to know what your mortgage payment is going to be for those 30 years. And like I was saying a few seconds ago, Only reason why that fixed rate might go up a few dollars, that's only if your house goes up in value. Okay, if your house goes up in value, you're going to see that your mortgage payment might increase by a few dollars. What causes that? Okay, when you're buying your home, you want to have your mortgage payment, your interest, your taxes, and your principal. You want to have all those combined in your mortgage payment. And the reason being, if you don't have your taxes in your mortgage payment because you want your mortgage payment a little lower, if you don't pay your taxes at the end of the year, then I'm going to come along, I'm an investor, and I see it, and I pay the taxes for you. And if you don't pay it in a year and a day, I can actually, start the process of foreclosure. So you don't want to not pay your taxes. Okay? So anyway, make sure your taxes is included in your mortgage payment. All right. Now, once you refinance and you have that fixed rate, you really have nothing to worry about because you'll know exactly what it is. All right. For that 30-year span that they're going to tell you that you're going to have to make payments for 30 years, it's ways around that. What ways that you can do to knock it down from 30 years to 15 or 10? All you have to do is just apply more money to the principal. This is how I do it. What I would do, I'll call my mortgage company and I'll let them know if my mortgage is $850. I'll call my mortgage company after I've paid my $850 for the month. I'll call them after I made that payment, and then I would tell them that I want to apply $850 towards my principal. And when you're knocking down your principal, you're knocking down years off of that 30 years. So every time you have some extra money, call your mortgage company and tell them the amount that you want to apply towards your principal. And they're going to ask for your bank account information. And when they ask you for your bank account information, they're going to automatically withdraw it from your bank account while you're on the phone. And then you just ask them what's your new balance and your confirmation number. Okay. So you got two ways to buy a home after you get approved. Say for instance, if you got approved for $150,000. You don't want to go out and buy a home for $150,000. Ain't no need to live for the Joneses. What you want to do is try to find your foreclosed home for $100,000, but when you get it appraised, it's worth $150,000. So that way, when you're moving in the home, you're actually moving in the home with $50,000 equity. What is equity? A lot of people don't know what equity is. Let me tell you what equity is. Okay, if I was to get ready to purchase a home, of course, you got to get it appraised. You got to get an inspection, and you got to get a termite inspection. Make sure you get all three. So what is equity? Equity is if I'm going to buy the home and I'm buying it for $100,000 and I get it appraised and the appraiser come back with $150,000 is what the house is worth, but I'm buying it for $100,000. That means I'm moving in with $50,000 of equity. And that $50,000 is more than the asking price because that's what the house is actually worth. But I'm buying it at $100,000. Y'all get it? So anyway, all right. So if you don't have to go in on an arm, where the mortgage payment will fluctuate after 2 years. If you go in on a fixed rate, because your credit is good, your income is good, and then once you get the money to go purchase your home, like I said, don't spend all of it. Try to find your foreclosed home unless you just wanted to spend all the money. The reason why I say don't spend all the money is because the more money you spend, the more the mortgage payment is going to be. But your mortgage payment is basically based off your interest rate. The interest rate is very important. So that's why it's a must that you have good credit. And if you don't have good credit, you still can get in on the arm like I was telling you. Okay, you got two options. You go in with a realtor or you can buy a home for sale by owner. When I bought my first home, for sale by owner. And how did I do that? I learned out of real estate school and I also took appraising school as well. What I did with the home for sale by owner, what you do is you go looking in the neighborhoods where you want to live until you see a sign in the yard saying for sale by owner. When you see that, you knock on the door, ask them when can you take a look at the home. If you can't take a look at the home at that point. If they say that you can't take a look at the home at that point, then they're going to schedule an appointment to come out. When you go out to the home, whatever you guys do, don't act excited even if you is excited, even if it is the home that you like. If you're acting real excited, then you're not going to really have that much negotiation room because they see that you like the house. If you like the house, keep that to yourself. Have them guessing. Don't you be guessing. So anyway, when you walk through the house, you like the house, Say for instance, this is what I done on my first home. The lady wanted $75,000. I was approved for $80,000 my first go around. I didn't tell her that I was approved for $80,000. If I told her that, she would have wanted the whole $75,000, right? Okay, so I told her, I said, I got good news and I got bad news. She said, well, what's the good news? I said, well, the good news, I was approved for some money. She said, well, what's the bad news? I said, the bad news is I was only approved for $60,000. And what real estate school told us, if you go in to buy a home for sale by owner, the reason why you want to go and target those is because 9 times out of 10, the wife and the husband are not getting along. Somebody done cheated, or it's all kind of other reasons why they don't want to be together. You know what I'm saying? And they're ready to sell to get out from around one another. So that's what I was told in real estate school. And how about when I told her the good and bad news? She said, well, guess what? You got good news today. She said, I know I was asking for $75,000, but since you was approved for $60,000, I'll take $59,000. How you like that, you guys? $59,000? That means I talked her down from $21,000 from what I was approved for, but what she was asking, I talked her down, let me see, $16,000 from her asking price. Well, anyway, once we did that, real estate school also taught us how to write our own contracts. So I asked her, did she have some notebook paper? She said yes. I had a friend with me. So I told her, you know what I'm saying, I do have $500 for earnest money. Earnest money goes towards the purchase price of the home. And when I gave her the earnest money, which was the $500, I made sure that we wrote out a receipt. And I also put in where it says for, I said for the purchase of, and I put the address of the property in that for section. And then I got a piece of paper, a regular piece of notebook paper, and I wrote on the notebook paper, on this day of, I did the line for me to sign my name, and the owner, I did a line for her to sign her name, agrees to the following terms, that she's going to sell me the house for, I put a blank for her to put the price, and the house is located at, I put up another blank for us to write in the address. And then after that, I had her to sign it, I signed it, and the friend that came with me, he signed it as a witness. Just that simple little piece of paper, you guys. But by me getting her that earnest money, and I had earnest money on the receipt, and I had that piece of notebook paper with both of our agreements, I took it to a real estate attorney. You can't use no other type of attorney but a real estate attorney. So I took it to a real estate attorney. What's the fees on real estate attorneys? Well, it varies in different states. While I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, the lawyer just only charged me like, it was, I think, less than $500. So what's the purpose of the real estate attorney? The real estate attorney is going to do the search to make sure there's no liens on the house, make sure that the title is clean so that, you know, you won't have no hiccups later on once you purchase it. And they might do other things too, but I know those are the two main things. So once they do all of that, you know what I'm saying, and they write up the contract from the contract that you and the owner agreed on the notebook paper. Once he have that typed up, then he gonna make it legal. Then he gonna give the owner a call to make sure and verify everything that's on the contract that he or she agreed. And once the lawyer hear that, they can't go back on their word because the lawyer heard it. So once they agree, then, you know, the lawyer gonna ask you, when do you want to close? What does close mean? Close mean when everybody comes together, which is the seller, the buyer, the lawyer, the seller lawyer, and if you use an attorney, a real estate agent, then the real estate agent will be there as well. What they call that is the meeting of the minds. You all come to a table where you'll be presented a lot of papers that you're going to have to sign. And once you sign all of those papers, they say you sign your life away because it's a 30-year term. But not necessarily. Just do what I told you about the principal. Just keep adding money, extra money towards that principal. That knock many years off of your mortgage. But anyway, once you guys come together and everybody come to an agreement and all the paperwork is signed and everything is signed over in your name, then you'll be handed the keys. Now, if the owner is still staying in the home, you give the owner a few days for them to get out. So y'all come to an agreement, whether it's a week or 2 weeks for them to leave. And in that period of time, they have to go. Then once they go, then you have your home. So, wasn't that simple, you guys? If there's any more questions on what you guys need to know about purchasing your first home, just put it in my comment section. And I'm also going to do a video on your credit. 9 times out of 10, 90% of whatever's on your credit, I'm going to show you how to get it off. On my end for free, but you guys have to spend about $10 at the post office for a certified letter. How y'all love that? Well, anyway, stay tuned to my next video on how to clear your credit. Thank you guys for tuning in. And one thing that I left out when I was saying something about the contract, I also had the earnest money involved in the contract as well. You know, I had that there as well. And one tip that I want to give you guys on first purchasing a home, this is something to look for. When you're buying a home, make sure that you're not buying a home that's on a concrete slab. What is a slab? A slab is made out of concrete, and you can tell it's on a concrete slab because it won't have the crawl space. What's the crawl space? The crawl space is where you can actually, it's a little door behind the house where you can actually crawl up underneath the house where you can get to the pipes. But if you buy a house without the crawl space and you have a house on a slab, then if you ever have any plumbing problems and call a plumber out, a plumber have to bring a special tool in to actually find the leak through the concrete. And then once they find the leak, they actually got to bust all your concrete up and to replace the pipes, and then they have to replace everything back. In other words, it's going to be expensive, you guys. So for your first home, make sure it's not on a slab. Make sure you get a home with a crawl space. And again, you guys, I thank you guys for tuning in. And on my next video, I'm going to show you guys on how to clear your credit. So make sure that you leave some of the things that's on your credit in my comments. So when I get ready to do the next video on credit, I'll know exactly what to show on my next video. I thank you guys again for tuning in. TNIZA, over and out.